Hi there, Ascanio Pignatelli here, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you'll ever really want to know or need to know about core self-evaluation theory. And here's why it's so important, because recently psychologists have discovered that there is a direct link between a person's core self-evaluation score and their level of job satisfaction and performance at work. So core self-evaluation theory is the personality trait responsible for our temperament, our well-being, how we feel about our circumstances, and it pretty much dictates how satisfied we're going to be with our job and also how well we're going to perform that job. Now you see, here's why it's important. Those with high core self-evaluation scores are generally more positive, more confident in their abilities, they're more satisfied with their jobs, and they perform them extremely well. On the flip side, those with low CSE scores lack confidence, they view things negatively, they aren't as satisfied with their jobs, and generally don't do them that well. The good news, though, is that core self-evaluations can be easily assessed, and in the right environment, with a little bit of coaching, they can be substantially increased. So the first of the four components to core self-evaluation theory is locus of control. That just basically means, where is control located? Is it external? In other words, are circumstances responsible for our success? Or is it internal? Do we believe that we are in control of our success? So there are two groups of people. There are internals and there are externals. Internals believe that they control their futures. They are therefore going to be more satisfied with their work, they will perform it better, and they will generally be happier. Now, externals, on the other hand, are more deterministic, or perhaps believe in fate or destiny or luck, whatever you want to call it. Their locus of control is external, so enjoying their work and performing it well is a lot harder for them. Okay? They don't believe that they can affect change like internals do. Now, employees with an internal locus will end up being happier, more empowered, and more productive. So you'll want your employees to have an internal locus of control. So shifting that locus, if they have an external locus, will be paramount, right? All right, so here's what you can do to find out where their locus of control. You can ask a couple of questions here. One of them is, how often do you feel you aren't in control of your work? Or what really determines what happens in your life? And another question that I like to use is, what's controlling the success in your career? Or what's responsible for the success in your career? Now, if the answers reveal that they have an external locus of control, you'll want to shift power back to them. And it might take a little work, but you can do it by simply asking some very effective coaching questions. The first, what I love to use is whenever anybody has a disempowering belief, like an external locus of control, simply ask them, just curiously, where did that belief come from? Or how true is that belief? Extremely effective at helping to shift that locus of control. All right, so now let's look at the second of the four traits to core self-evaluation theory, and that's neuroticism. You want to ask yourself, do any of your employees ever get anxious, angry, or depressed easily? Are you one of those employees? Because the thing is that those with a tendency to easily experience unpleasant emotions have high neuroticism and will react far more negatively to stress. Obviously, the better you can handle stress, the better you show up as a leader. Now, emotional intelligence isn't just a key to effective leadership, it's also a key contributor to performance, especially for more socially oriented tasks like managing teams or motivating and influencing others, leading a project. Now, the good news is that emotional intelligence is not a fixed thing. It's not something that can't be changed. It can actually be elevated with a little bit of cognitive behavioral coaching. So here's what you might want to ask if you feel that an employee might have low emotional intelligence or high neuroticism. Simply, what can you do to not get so stressed out next time you have, a presentation or a sales call or whatever it is that's stressing that employee out? Or another thing you can ask him is, what would be a more appropriate way to react to that situation? So next time a customer yells at you, rather than yelling back, what might be another way you could handle that? Okay, so the third of the 4 traits is self-efficacy. So the question you might want to ask yourself is, do your team members have strong beliefs in their ability to accomplish challenging tasks or goals? If they do, they have high self-efficacy. And that's the personality trait responsible for how likely they are to succeed with their current goals and tasks, or even take on a new challenging assignment, or simply write it off as impossible. So self-efficacy really shows up with people that start diets or a workout regimen. Whether they're going to succeed or not is pretty much dictated by their level of self-efficacy. Now, employees with really high self-efficacy are more determined and persistent when dealing with adversity. And they're also more likely to welcome new challenges as opportunities for growth. Okay, so the greater a person's belief in their own power to influence an outcome, the more likely they are to succeed with that new challenge. So I want to share a 4-step process with you that can really help you develop your personnel's self-efficacy. Okay, so number 1, you want to build confidence. First thing, challenge any belief an employee might have that is limiting their performance or ability to execute a certain task. So for example, if an employee thinks they aren't experienced enough to manage a project, you can remind them of their unique strengths and capabilities. In other words, what are some of the traits that they have that will help them execute that task? All right, so the second one is you want to promote modeling. Have inexperienced employees watch other colleagues with similar skills perform more advanced tasks. So the interesting thing is here that seeing others with similar abilities succeed at a task will help them develop that positive can-do attitude. The third step is evaluate to motivate. Rewards, recognition, and positive feedback are key to helping your employees feel more competent, motivated, and open to growth. Negative feedback can devastate those with low self-esteem, as they almost always take it personally. So you'll want to adopt an evaluation approach, where you basically acknowledge the contributions that they've made, focus on their strengths, suggest ways that they can improve their performance, and then remind them of all the accomplishments that they've had to date. You'll want to conclude with some positive reinforcement that pretty much leaves them feeling respected, supported, and valued. And then the final step is truly optimize the environment. I mean, take a page out of any Olympic athlete's book, and you'll know that they invest valuable time and energy into their physical and physiological well-being. They know that that is critical to performance. So create a vibrant and energetic, stress-free workplace that encourages your team to get the food, the exercise, the rest, the water their bodies need so that they can perform at their best. The final of the 4 core self-evaluation traits is self-esteem. And basically, it's the approval that we have of ourselves and the extent to which we see ourselves as capable, significant, successful, and worthy. It's also one of the most important of the CSE domains because it's the overall value we place on ourselves as human beings. Now, the productivity of workers with low self-esteem is often low because they're indecisive and they fear making mistakes and they're striving for perfection, which is sometimes an ideal that cannot even be reached. And when they don't reach it, what happens? They get frustrated, they get angry, they get annoyed, and they become irritable. And what happens to irritable employees? Well, they end up going around and irritating the rest of the employees, those that are engaged and happy and motivated at work. So you'll want to boost the self-esteem of your employees, even those with high self-esteem. Always look for ways to recognize and celebrate their successes and accomplishments, and quite frankly, you can't do it too much. The second thing you want to do is you'll want to express your gratitude and appreciation for them. All right, so let's wrap it all up. Let's leave by remembering that employees with high core self-evaluation levels are not only more satisfied with their jobs and perform them better, they're also more confident, more motivated, more enthusiastic, and happier with their work. They're also far less stressed, have less conflict, and cope more effectively with setbacks, and are better at capitalizing on opportunities than those that have lower core self-evaluation scores. So to find out what your core self-evaluation level is, go ahead and click the link below and it'll take you to a quick assessment. It should take you a couple minutes. Fill out the form and then I'll get the results and I'll send you back your score and possibly schedule an appointment with you if you're interested to seeing how you can raise your CSE scores. Thanks for watching the video and I hope you have an amazing day.